I represent myself and my channel with a little cartoon that looks like a certain figure, a religious figure, by the name of Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. I specifically chose to put that as image out there because drawing Muhammad, making a cartoon of Muhammad, is a very dangerous thing. You shouldn't try that at home, because if you do it and you publicize it or people know about it, your life will be in danger. A little over a decade ago, or I think about a decade ago, in France, a magazine, Charlie Hebdo, put out a cartoon of Muhammad for which the entire place was attacked by Islamic terrorists. We don't have the freedom in an Islamic environment to mock or to critically speak of the Islamic beliefs and of the Prophet, the so-called Prophet Muhammad. I can tell you that the Quran, the Islamic fundamental text, equivalent to the Bible in Christianity, has certain ideas and doctrines such as it tells Muslims directly, do not befriend the Jews and the Christians. Whoever befriends them is one of them, because they, the Jews and the Christians, are allies of one another, and they are basically, hostile enemies of Allah and Islam. It further says in chapter 98, verse 6, it says that the Jews and Christians and all the other disbelievers are the worst creatures. I'm not joking. It's right there in the Quran. This is what it says, that Christians and Jews and disbelievers are the worst of creatures. It further also, Muhammad himself, the Prophet, very clearly says that people like me who leave their religion and say it deserve to be executed. And these are not just old ideas that are long gone. These are still ideas held by the majority of Muslim scholars and apologists and educators and Muslims around the world. This is a huge crowd for me. How's everybody doing? I personally have no idea why Charlie put me on here, because I don't speak English very well. I'm an immigrant. I've just learned to speak English. And the biggest crowd that I spoke to was like 200 people, and now we have thousands of people here. I normally do this on YouTube, so I don't have people looking at me and giving me all the reactions when I say dumb things. So this is definitely very, very exciting. See how I tied that in? I tied it into my YouTube channel. This is how you do it. You can find me on YouTube as Apostate Prophet if you look it up. Who's actually here for me? Who even knows about me? Three people, 4 people, yeah. So we want to change that today. You can just go and look me up on YouTube, Apostate Prophet. In fact, I'm going to wait. Everyone subscribe right now, please. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So I want to really thank Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA for doing this and for giving me the opportunity, because we have a very important job to do. We have a lot of very important things to do. If you do indeed find me on YouTube, you will see, what you will encounter is that I represent myself and my channel with a little cartoon that looks like a certain figure, a religious figure, by the name of Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. I specifically chose to put that as image out there because drawing Muhammad, making a cartoon of Muhammad, is a very dangerous thing. You shouldn't try that at home, because if you do it and you publicize it or people know about it, your life will be in danger. Many of you might know about it, but a little over a decade ago, or I think about a decade ago, in France, a magazine, Charlie Hebdo, put out a cartoon of Muhammad for which the entire place was attacked by Islamic terrorists who opened fire and killed several of those journalists and cartoonists. This was, of course, horrific. Lots of people around the world, in Europe, in the West, and also some in the Muslim world condemned it. But the general idea in the Muslim world was that those cartoonists, when they were killed, basically deserved it because they asked for it. This is the culture that we are dealing with, that I am dealing with on a daily basis. We don't have the freedom in an Islamic environment to mock or to critically speak of the Islamic beliefs and of the Prophet, the so-called Prophet Muhammad, despite the fact that this so-called Prophet Muhammad was a warlord and a pedophile, but he is also considered the perfect moral conduct for Muslims all around the world. I would know this. I didn't have the privilege, unlike most of you wonderful people here, to be raised in a Christian environment with Christian values and Christian rules, or to be raised within a country, a beautiful country like America, where you have the freedom, where we have the freedom to say whatever we want without fearing repercussions. The same thing cannot be said about different places in the world. I was raised in an Islamic environment. I was raised in a religious Muslim family, and I am what you would call an ex-Muslim. I was raised with the idea that I should be loyal only to Islam as a religion. I was raised with animosity, with hostility toward the West. I was raised as an enemy of the United States of America. Today, I am standing here with a huge American flag right in front of me, and I proudly and happily call myself an American. America has given me the ability, the freedom to be free and to say whatever I want, to do whatever I want, to be free, to speak freely. I appreciate this to no end. I have also, after I left Islam, after I turned my back on it, I spent about 10 years as an atheist, as a very hardcore skeptic. I have recently become a Christian, so I am... So I can finally share the beauty of Christian values and Christian beliefs, which I didn't know, which were taught to me in a very limited way, but which were also demonized by my own culture and by my own religion. Charlie Kirk recently said something for which he got in huge trouble. He said, Islam is incompatible with the West. He also said Islam does not belong in the West. It has no place in the West. But unfortunately, it is rapidly growing in the West and having a lot of influence. I can tell you, as an ex-Muslim, as somebody who has left Islam, who has it behind himself, and who is now in your culture, in this free culture, I can tell you that the Quran, the Islamic fundamental text, equivalent to the Bible in Christianity, has certain ideas and doctrines such as it tells Muslims directly, do not befriend the Jews and the Christians. Whoever befriends them is one of them, because they, the Jews and the Christians, are allies of one another, and they are basically, hostile enemies of Allah and Islam. It further says in chapter 98, verse 6, it says that the Jews and Christians and all the other disbelievers are the worst creatures. I'm not joking. It's right there in the Quran. This is what it says, that Christians and Jews and disbelievers are the worst of creatures. It further also, Muhammad himself, the Prophet, very clearly says that people like me who leave their religion and say it deserve to be executed. And these are not just old ideas that are long gone. These are still ideas held by the majority of Muslim scholars and apologists and educators and Muslims around the world. So, unfortunately, in the Muslim world, I would never be allowed to give this speech that I'm giving right now. If I did give this speech, I would probably be lynched and brutally murdered, like many others have been over the many years. In Pakistan, this happens again and again, where somebody is falsely accused of disrespecting Islam. It only has to be an accusation, and people will go after that person and will brutally massacre them. In Europe, unfortunately, this problem is getting bigger and bigger, because Europe made the stupid mistake, the very stupid mistake, of allowing massive numbers of people to simply come in unchecked and to give people this idiotic impression that we all are the same. All cultures are the same. They are, anybody who comes from a different culture, no matter what they do, if they are among us, and they just see our kindness and our goodness and our civilization, they will just change and be just like us. It doesn't work that way. Now we have massive numbers of people in the UK in Australia, in France, in Germany, in many other countries that actually want to start imposing Islamic rules. They have already started it. In the UK, it has become very much impossible to openly criticize Islam and get away with it. People go to jail because of it. We don't have that in America. America is still a free country where we still have freedom. But the issue is it wasn't always like this in Europe. Just several decades ago, the state that Europe is in right now was considered unthinkable. The same thing can happen very quickly if you do not watch out. In America, it can become similar quite quickly. We have, for example, a rising candidate for mayor in New York City, Zran Mandani. What do you guys think about him? Zran Mandani has said things such as that the end goal is to seize the means of production, which is an explicitly Marxist communist slogan and idea. He has condemned a statue of Columbus and said that we should take it down. He has called for defunding the police. He has been seen wearing terrorist rags and aligning with Hamas propaganda, for example. Hamas, by the way, right now is a very heated topic, but is the very same organization that openly praised Osama bin Laden, who explicitly took responsibility for 9/11. This is the organization, and we have their allies here in the United States, unchecked. Meanwhile, we have another state in the Middle East that some people, and I don't want to say any names today, that some people have an obsession with and that they likely would rather attack, Israel. Israel is often targeted by the very same people who will stand up and defend certain countries, like the Islamic regime of Iran, which very explicitly has it in their policies and every day says, death to America, death to Israel. The Islamic regime of Iran explicitly and officially calls America the great Satan and Israel the small Satan. On July 4th, on our day, on the day of America, a clergyman in the Islamic regime of Iran openly and publicly declared that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are two people who should be executed. These are his words, executed. I want to hereby, in solidarity, send all respect and greetings to those people of Iran who are not on the side of the Islamic regime and who are fighting for their freedoms. Because the Islamic regime of Iran is not just a danger to their own people, it's also a danger to the entire world. It is in their constitution, believe it or not, that the Islamic revolution that they accomplished should also be spread abroad, and other countries should also be led toward an Islamic revolution. And we have many Muslim scholars and apologists, and you will see that if you engage with my content, who very proudly and happily say this. So what is the solution? As an ex-Muslim, I think there are some things that we should not be afraid to address. There are certain things to do, such as learn about Islam, learn that it's not simply a religion, it's a political system. Yeah, not all Muslims are bad, whatever, I don't care. But the religion itself is pretty bad. If a person does not explicitly identify with political Islam and an attempt to overthrow the government, he's still part of a religious system that is pretty bad. So learn what Islam is, or amplify those who know about it, like me, shamelessly plugging myself here again. Another thing to do, the Muslim Brotherhood should be designated as a terrorist organization. Islamic influx and influence should be limited. There should be a prioritization of deporting explicitly Islamist organizations and people.